Right on time for the news now. My name is Linda Alela. Lots lined up for you as we go straight to it, where President William Ruto has announced that the government will take decisive action against leaders who use young people as goons to cause chaos, destroy property, and endanger lives. Now, he made the remarks during the graduation of chiefs and assistant chiefs at the National Police College in Embakasi here in Nairobi. Now, the president directed Inspector General of Police Douglas Kanja to ensure that all those involved in acts of hooliganism and incitement are identified and brought to justice, while Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen reiterated the president's remarks, saying the government will address the rise of hooliganism in the country and that it must be done without fear or favor and must be done indiscriminately.
Wale ambao wanatumia vijana kama wahuni, watu ambao wanatumika kulete fujo, kupiganisha wananchi, kulete maafa, hawa ni watu ambao hatuwezi kukubali, na nishamueleza Inspector General wetu wa polisi kwamba watu hawa wote lazima wachukuliwe hatua kali za kisheria ndio tukomeshe uhuni.
In the next few months is to make sure that Your Excellency will deal with the issue of goons across the country. And I must say this, Your Excellency, this must be done without fear or favor. It must be done indiscriminately. And you know, Your Excellency, our IG and the security sector cannot condone that behavior. And what we saw yesterday in Nairobi cannot be condoned.
And a dramatic rescue mission has unfolded at Mount Longonot after a visitor slipped and plunged into the crater on a Saturday. Authorities say the hiker, identified as Bildad Simiyu, landed on a narrow rock edge that is deep inside the crater, making immediate evacuation dangerous. Now, as nightfall made conditions worse, Kenya Wildlife Service officers kept constant communication with him, that is from the crater rim, reassuring him, monitoring his injuries and stabilizing the situation until daylight. At first light, a multi-agency team drawn from the Kenya Red Cross, the Nakuru Fire Brigade, the Kenya Police and medics from ITAC Hospital joined the KWS officers in a delicate hours-long extradition effort. The team eventually reached Simiyu and pulled him out safely. At around 3 p.m., he suffered a fracture to his left leg and is receiving treatment at the Naivasha County Referral Hospital, where he is reported to be in stable condition. Wishing him quick recovery. And now, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, EACC, has launched investigations into an alleged bribery and corruption syndicate at the Kenya Institute of Highways and Building Technology, that is KIHBT, Kisii campus, following a search operation conducted on 28 November 2025. Acting on search warrants, EACC officers raided the institute and homes of officials, that is from KIHBT, and the National Transport and Safety Authorities, NTSA, over claims that instructors were demanding bribes from students to secure passes in NTSA driving tests. Preliminary investigations indicate that students were allegedly charged illegal facilitation fees and allowed to bypass practical exams, while one suspect, Fidel Omondi, was arrested with 171,000 Kenya shillings, and that was recovered in an envelope inside his jacket. The EACC says investigations are ongoing as it cracks down on corruption at service delivery points.
Show us an example. We assist with serial numbers.
And as Christmas and New Year festive season approaches, the National Transport and Safety Authority, NTSA, has today convened a high-level meeting here in Nairobi with key stakeholders in the transport sector and the National Police Service. The discussions are focused on strengthening road safety measures ahead of the holiday rush. Now, speaking during the meeting, the NTSA officials emphasized the need for strict compliance with traffic regulations, including speed limits, seatbelt use, and avoidance of drunk driving. They noted that overspeeding and human error remain the highest contributors to road crashes.
Road safety is a shared responsibility, and all these stakeholders that I've mentioned have a very important role that they have to play in accordance with the law. And this was therefore to agree together that we do not want any Kenyan to lose their lives during this festive season, and therefore we commit to do, each stakeholder to do their responsibilities.
We are prepared as a National Police Service to ensure safety along our public roads, traffic department in particular. We have made arrangements for enhanced enforcement of traffic rules and regulations along our public roads.
So what we are saying, we've been having these meetings. I would like this to be the last meeting. When we come next meeting, we want to see this number down. Those who are promising us heaven, we are telling them now we are watching on them.
Now, the U.S. government has issued a security alert to its citizens living in Tanzania. A U.S. embassy in Dar es Salaam says there are ongoing calls for nationwide anti-government demonstrations on December the 9th, but protest activity could begin as early as December the 5th. The embassy advising travelers to Tanzania over the next several weeks should be prepared for potential disruptions, including the possibility of unrest, nationwide curfews, and internet blackout, cancellation of ferries to Zanzibar, cancellation of international flights, and roadblocks enacted to enforce strict movement controls. Chinese ambassador to Kenya, Guo Haiyan, has led Kenyan and Chinese leaders in a joint readers forum exploring the 5th edition of Governance by President Xi Jinping on the People's Republic of China. The forum, held in Nairobi, highlighted how China's governance model, economic stabilization, and poverty eradication strategies continue to inspire developing nations. Senior Chinese officials emphasized strengthened bilateral and cultural ties, while Kenya's ICT Cabinet Secretary William Kafogo and UDA Chairperson Hassan Omar underscored the need to deepen collaboration through the education and breaking language barriers. Leaders at the event praised Xi Jinping's latest publication as a guide for nations pursuing effective governance and inclusive growth, principles that align with the Kenya Kwanza bottom-up agenda.
Today, China-Kenya cooperation has evolved into a partnership for shared development. From Nairobi to Garissa, from farmlands to factories, our two countries are jointly exploring a path of poverty reduction and sustainable development built on infrastructure connectivity, industrial empowerment, and human capital development. China and Africa are jointly advancing win-win cooperation and setting a benchmark for quality Belt and Road cooperation. The facts speak clearly. China Africa cooperation is pragmatic and mutually beneficial, delivering real benefits to our people.
The newly released volume offers insight into how China views its journey of modernization, reform, and global engagement. It places people firmly at the center of governance, captured clearly in the statement that, and I quote, "The people's wish for a happy life is our..."
President William Ruto has officially commissioned modern police housing at the National Police Service Embakasi A campus here in Nairobi, handing over keys to beneficiaries and promising dignified living conditions for officers who safeguard Kenyans and their property. Under the Better program, modern multi-story apartments with water, electricity and sanitation have been built, as Ruto highlighted the government's plan to build 17,000 modern housing units for police, urging prompt occupation of completed estates like Chuka. Now, the move underscores efforts to boost both capacity and welfare of Kenya's frontline officers.
More officers are going to move into this building, and not just you here. I think we are doing this across Kenya, from Turkana all the way to the coast. We are using the Affordable Housing Fund. We are giving some decent housing to not just Kenyans, but also public officers, including us.
Meru County is facing rising tension after 3 coordinated night raids by armed cattle rustlers left 3 people dead and several others injured. The attackers, believed to have crossed from the Samburu region, struck almost simultaneously in Igembe Central, Tigania East and Awori East, driving away hundreds of livestock. In the first attack, dusk raiders stole 62 cattle from Igembe Central, leading to a confrontation in which a herder and 2 National Police reservists were killed. A second group later hit Tigania East, seizing 120 cattle, with officers recovering most of them after sealing key escape routes hours later. A third gang targeted homes in Awori East, stealing cattle, goats and sheep before police retrieved part of the livestock by morning. County Commissioner Jacob Ouma says the raids were clearly coordinated and may have involved local collaborators.
Kati ya wale ng'ombe wote 26 ambao walikuwa wamechukuliwa, ng'ombe 23 wamekwisha rudishwa, na kati ya mbuzi na kondoo 22 ambao walikuwa wamechukuliwa, tayari mbuzi na kondoo 20 tayari wamekwisha rejeshwa, na maafisa wangali wako katika maeneo yale ambako wale wawevi majambazi wamejificha. Wanaendelea kuhakikisha ya kwamba wale majambazi wamepambanwa nao na mifugo wote wamerudi. Vya dola vya usalama viko ange, tuko tayari na tutapambana na changamoto yoyote ile.
The nation today joined the rest of the world in marking World AIDS Day, the South Nyanza region holding its main commemoration event in Mbita, Homa Bay County. Our residents gathered for a day-long program that focused on training and sensitization aimed at combating HIV-related stigma and reinforcing prevention measures and timely intervention as rising infections among young people continue to raise concern.
For HIV in Homa Bay County is at 10.6, and people living with HIV/AIDS in Homa Bay is around 126,000, of which we have kids, children who are also living with HIV/AIDS, around 8,000 children are living with HIV/AIDS.
I'm a Chef Kenya Young People Lead in Western Region, and my passion, or our passion in ending the triple threat, is ending new infections, ending reducing the teenage pregnancies, and also the sexual and gender-based violence. HF has put into place activities. We have a young people's program that is done every month that is aimed at treating the young people, having them tested, STI treatment, put on medication, and also providing HIV care and treatment.
All right, Chelsea fans have voiced their relief and frustration as their side That's where we close the news now. Thank you so much for keeping it at TV47. More will be coming your way later on. My name is Linda Alela. Do have yourself a lovely evening.